Hey, good morning once again. So, for those of you who have been following us, thank you very much. Last time we talked about the Bunyoro Kitara thing, and we said we are going to discuss it in detail. Um, just for a hint before we go into the first, um, go into the discussions. Um, Sometimes people tend to mix. There is Bunyoro, Kitara, and then there is Kitara um, Empire. So the kingdom, which is Munyoro Kingdom, is actually one of the products, the products after the disintegration of the empire. Actually, the word Nyoro means yesterday. It's a loan name. What confuses most of us is that uh, these were around four groups. We have the Aborigines, the indigenous groups that are have been uh, living the area, the Great Lakes region area. Then the band that came from the DRC area. Then the group that came from Ethiopia, the Tigrayens. Some people call them the Batwezi, the Batembuzi. Actually, the Batembuzi were the advanced team. And then the Luos that came in later and captured the empire. So those are four groups. And actually, when you look at the people that are living here today, we are all descendants of the four groups. If you analyze it strategically and try to digest it, you find that actually we are all descendants of the four groups. So I'll start with the first group, that is the Aboriginals, the ones that were here. There is no proper there's no proper record to explain who they were, who these people are, where did they come from, uh, how did they settle. There's no proper records, but they are Bantus. Their records are there. You can look for it and get it. They had several groups that came in through Congo, Tanzania, then the Luos, and then the Batembus and the Chwes. The Batembus and the Chwes were actually, when you go to Ethiopia, you'll find in the northern part of Ethiopia, you'll find people called Tigrayens. Of recent, they were fighting the government of Ethiopia. Their forces were fighting, and I think the war is now. I think they are no longer fighting, but they had a war previously. For like 2 years, they were fighting, and it is believed that actually the Batembus and the Chwes are descendants of the Tigrayens, and these people are the same. When you read the history of the Tigrayens, some people relate them to those of you who have uh, deeply analyzed and read the Bible. There is a lady called Queen Sheba. So it's believed that actually those are the people those were her people by the time she was the queen of that area. So the Tigrayens are descendants of her people. So those people were cattle keepers, and because of the environment, the conditions that could not favor their trade of cattle keeping, they chose to migrate southwards, and that's how they came into the Great Lakes region. So those of you who have been trying to find the similarity between especially the Himas, the Tutsis, and the Hema there is the Hema, the Tutsis, and the Hima with the Ethiopians or Somalis. I think now you can relate. That's where they come from. That's where they came from and settled here. So those four groups took part, and they were part of the empire. They were part of the empire, the indigenous groups. the Bantu, the Chwez, and and uh, and the Luos that came in later. So we are going to briefly talk about how the empire started. I've uh, I've I've tried to analyze work that has been presented by I think the best scholars. We have Professor Ndebesa. He has studied this topic extensively. We have Bikunya, we have Fisher. We have a number of other people that have tried to come up with a story regarding this topic. And I think that when we dig deeper, we shall get to a conclusion. Why are we going back to this? Is, I found it necessary because I saw people were jumping around. They have not taken time to understand the history, and if you don't understand the history, you don't know where you're going. And most of us are pointing at each other. You people are immigrants. You people, you came from here. You people, you came from there. So if we study the history and understand it, I think by the end of the day, um, being Kenyan or Uganda and Tanzania would be the best thing to go for, to yearn for and fight for, other than concentrating on ethnic groups. So in the next episode, we shall start straight away with the empire, how it started and how it developed, and how we shall look at the range, each group, the dynasties of each group, and how we reached here as people. I think that will lead us to, will give us a clear picture.